This demo is intended to show you our QSL technology for generating a large variety of similar questions from a template. QSL uses plain text files in a special format as the template for questions. And it's possible to generate both multiple choice questions as well as stepwise questions using QSL. This is a QSL template on the left here for a multiple choice question that came from some SAT test prep questions that we created. Each template can define settings for the question. For instance, the rule class setting says what set of stepwise rules we'd like to use to generate a stepwise question. We can also specify things having to do with the randomness of the variables that we're creating. And here's where you'd specify, using a setting, how many unique variants of the question you want QSL to generate for you. Following the settings are variable definitions. Your question templates can have integer value variables, real value variables, and string variables. And the magic happens in QSL because of these constraints. The constraints specify the valid ranges for variables. For string variables, you can specify a list of possible values for a string variable, like colors or animal names or whatever. After you've defined the constraints amongst your variables, then all the textual elements come together in the rest of the question template. This is a template for a multiple choice question. The template can contain one or more different native language values for all your string elements. So I can put English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, etc. Textual elements all in the same template, so that when I generate variants of the questions, I can get variants in multiple native languages. You can also specify multiple classes of questions within a single template. So for instance, if I want to have questions that are appropriate for teaching auto repair, I can make auto repair a class, I can make computer programming a class, and then I can intersperse textual elements for multiple classes within the single template and get the question variants generated that are appropriate for different careers, for instance. Since I'm generating a multiple choice question here, I specify my answer choices. I can have multiple distractors, so I can make 4-way, 5-way, multi-way, multiple choice questions using QSL. And then I can provide as explanations, answer explanations for my multiple choice options, and I can also provide some general hints that my system might serve up to students who ask for a hint. I finally tag my questions with tags that are intended for question authors and editors, so that I can group questions together and find questions of particular difficulty levels or particular topics. So that's what a question template looks like. I then have a web-based tool that will rebuild the question variants from the template. So using this particular template for a multiple choice question, I can go to a website, click a rebuild button, and rerun the QSL tools to regenerate my question variants. I see the output of the QSL tools to make sure that there's no syntax errors in my questions, or there's no problem generating the number of unique variants I have requested. It's also possible to use Mathematica to generate embedded graphs within my questions. So if I want to make charts diagrams, etc., that incorporate the value of my variables, I can do that as well. Once the tool runs and generates my variance, I have a web-based preview page that I can load that shows me the question permutations. I see the value of all my settings, and then I start seeing each of the variants. By default, QSL generates 25 variants, but I can have as many or as few as I'd like. So the question author or an editor can scan through these variants, make sure their values all look reasonable to me. So that's a preview of how I'd make multiple choice questions using QSL. To make stepwise questions with QSL, I create a template for QSL, and instead of specifying multiple choice, I specify stepwise as the form of question I'd like to create. I can still have multiple languages. I can still have multiple contextualizations for different careers or different STEM disciplines, etc., within a single question template. I give my stepwise specification, which is how I tell stepwise about the problem that I want the student to solve. This happens to be a problem involving simplification of an expression. So just like when I am generating multiple choice questions, I can run the rebuild tool for my stepwise question. And in this case, I generate, using QSL, my variants that are suitable for stepwise. I can still have graphs if I'd like to have graphs in my question. I also create a preview page that shows me each of the variants that are created for the question. And because this is a stepwise question, I have the ability to launch stepwise on a variant to check it out in the stepwise user interface. So this is how I test my stepwise questions that are generated from QSL. So I hope you understand this overview. That's a quick overview of our QSL technology, for which we have a US patent. Let us know if you have any further questions. Thanks.